In this video I'm going to talk about my quarantine system. I'm not real happy with the way I'm doing it now. As I said before, these tanks on the bottom are my quarantine and you can't siphon them very easily. They're too low. I worked real hard to make sure that there was no tanks on the bottom of this fish room anywhere, just for that reason. So I am going to change out my my system. I'm going to move my quarantine tanks to a different location. So I'll add more to this when we get over into the shop. Okay, we're now in my shop, and I have this workbench here, and on this end, I never use it as a workbench. I use it to set stuff right now. I've got aquarium related stuff in there. I did clean out my aquarium hallway, so I'm going to be moving all the stuff off of this end, everything. And I'm going to set my quarantine tanks up here. They'll be in the shop. I'll have to have an air pump, which I do own. I'll bring the sponge filters over. I'll have to put heaters in them, of course, because this room isn't heated like the fish room is. But that'll put them in a separate location. I can reach them. I can siphon them easily, because from there, all you do is come around the corner and there is my sink. And incidentally, this is my siphon that goes into the fish room for water changes. I hook it up and the water comes through the wall. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to have to wait and see how much room I have there. I do have a homemade tank that's a little bigger than 10 gallon, but I don't know if I'll use it. I might just set the 310s on there. That might be the way to go. So I'm going to add more to this as I go. I have the end of the workbench cleaned off, and I marked the 3 10-gallon quarantine tanks will come to here, and they go back to about right here, so I can leave those tools there. So I'm going to start emptying the water out of them. I'll do a 50% water change on each one anyway, and bring them in here and get them set up. I got the quarantine tanks moved. I need to get one more thermometer for the middle one. They're just bare bottom. These are the sponge filters that were already in them, so they have bacteria. And as always, I have one fish in each one all the time to keep the bacteria alive. I did have an extra pump, so I have air going to everything, and I have 3 heaters. I'll have to check them heaters to make sure they're not overdoing it, because sometimes them heaters are not real good. So anyway, I do have it set up. I have the quarantine tank set up in the shop now. 3 10-gallon tanks with a plastic plant and bubbler in each one. My light, I didn't want to have enough light to cause algae, so I just screwed it to the rafter and went from there. So yeah, have that thing suspended in there, and I didn't want to have so much light that it caused algae, is my problem. But that does give it some light. And that is going to be on a timer, so that is not a problem. Well, actually it is on a timer. So all I have to do is monitor my temperatures now and make sure that the water is at the right temp, and then my quarantine will now be in here.